Hello, I'm Kimberley Dondo, Digital Content Manager, and welcome to the In Conversation With series, a series where I speak to notable figures in the realm of financial services. Listen as they share their personal journeys, thoughts on the industry, and advice for aspiring advisors. Hello, and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. I'm Kimberley Dondo, Digital Content Manager. And in this episode, I'm joined by James Taylor from Taylor Financial Management. So, James, if you could give us a bit of a background and tell us about yourself, because I think you could do it better than I ever could.
Oh, thanks, Kimberley, and thanks for inviting me to come on your podcast. So I guess I, much like most people in their sort of when they hit their actual careers, kind of fell into it. I certainly wasn't sitting on my father's knee as a small boy saying I wanted to be a financial planner when I grow up. Actually, I wanted to be a musician, so I trained.
Oh, wow.
I trained to be a musician for several years at school and college and university. And then finished all that training and worked out there are no jobs in music. So I think my mother wanted to kick me out and start charging me rent. So
oh no, that's when it's serious.
Yeah, I know. So she wanted to start charging me rent. So told me to go out and get a proper job. And I got a job at Barclays, and it all kind of went from there. I moved on from there to an investment house, and then I was stockbroking for 8 or 9 years. And then decided I'd get into financial advice. So wanted to be my own boss and move away from the whole corporate world. And it's the best decision I ever made career-wise.
Definitely sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's even better than the potential of being a rock star that I would have wanted being 15 years old.
The pool of fame and everything for me has changed just because I don't like the idea of some people that I don't know being that invasive in my life. But I understand the need to create art and wanting to put it out there. But now you do something, completely different that still has an impact on people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, though. I couldn't think of anything worse than being famous. Absolutely not. Paparazzi and all that would be terrible. But it's such a rewarding job, being a financial planner. And when you actually help people, if they've got like a tax issue or inheritance problems and worries, and you see the look of relief on their face afterwards, it's really worth it and really worthwhile job.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to that because I find it quite interesting, the relationship that advisors have with their clients. But for you said that you pivoted from kind of working in corporate banking and stocks and all that stuff. What was that transition like for you from doing that to working for yourself as a financial planner advisor?
Well, it was pretty seamless, I would have thought, looking back. There wasn't really too much of a transition really for me. I think it was something I'd been mulling over for so long that by the time I actually came to doing it, I was fully prepared to, I'd researched all the possible scenarios. So nothing was a real shock to me when it went from big corporate life to me being on my own. I guess the one thing that I took for granted was the proverbial chats around the water cooler when you're in a big office with lots of people. You've got that kind of go for a drink after work with your colleagues and everything like that, to all of a sudden being you sat on your own. And your first Christmas party is you taking yourself off to the pub for a quiet pint by yourself. Is that's kind of it was the big change for me.
But I think most people have adjusted to that now, working from home. They also are in a similar position, even though they are working for a company. It's almost like they are self-employed to a certain extent.
Yeah, I just had a bit of a head start on the rest of the didn't I? So. Really? That was it. So.
Yeah.
made lockdown nice and easy for me. I was already used to it.
So in terms of your clients and the relationships you have, I'm quite interested in this because I'd come across a story where basically this a daughter of two older people was quite concerned with her parents' relationship with their financial advisor. This was based in America, so it might be slightly different. But they basically never made any financial decision without consulting their financial advisor. Like the financial advisor would literally come round and tell, the daughter, we're not going to be able to pay for college this year because obviously in America it's very expensive and parents tend to help with that. And so I was wondering, in terms of that kind of dynamic, how do you kind of place those boundaries with your clients where you're like, I am here to help, but sometimes, you're going to need to make these decisions by yourself?
Well, thankfully, scenarios like the one you've just mentioned hasn't quite happened to that extent to me yet in my career. But no, I think, clients need to know that you're there for them, and you're always at the end of the phone if they've got a query or a question. And of course, you're happy to help, even if it's, a small question, should I pay off my credit card this month or pay this thing off or something like that. Of course, you're going to answer them and help them.
Yeah.
But I think you've just got to manage a bit of expectation. And, if it gets to the point where they're coming and asking you for every single financial decision, you just got to, from the outset, you're there to advise and to consult, not to make the decision for them.
Right.
And I make that perfectly clear right from the word go. The initial conversation with the client, it's, I'm here to advise. You don't have to take my advice. I'm going to tell you what my view is. That's what you're paying me to do. But at the end of the day, the decision is yours. I'm just there to give you my professional advice on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's very much the difference between being an advisor and a salesman as well. And I definitely consider myself an advisor, not a salesman. I'm a terrible salesman. Don't ask me to sell you anything. I can't do it. Yeah.
I can relate to that too. I'm not a great salesperson.
I'm absolutely terrible at it. So, yeah, there for advice. And that's really where my service really, I give my advice and the client takes over from there and makes the decision.
Yeah.
I explain all the options and the pros and cons of each. But the final decision is always down to the client, and that has to be from the word go.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, like, distinction between I'm not the one making the decisions. I'm just giving you a path that you can take, and yeah, it's almost like parenting in a way.
It is. I always compare it to a bit like a sat nav. As in, you tell me where you want to be, and I'll show you the different routes and what are the tolls and how long is it going to take you to get to via each route. Is there any stop offs you want to make on the way or anything like that? So that's the way the analogy I use for it.
I like that. I like that analogy. That's actually really clever. I might use that in a upcoming piece. I will make sure to quote you though. I won't take credit.
Use it. Have it. It's yours.
So obviously you're clearly doing something right because you made the shortlist for the Money Marketing Awards 2022. How does that feel for you, kind of getting that recognition for the work that you do?
Oh, it feels absolutely fantastic to be recognised, and as you say, it obviously makes me feel like I must be doing something right if I've made it to the shortlist of the highly prestigious awards that you guys put on. So yeah, I'm really grateful, and I've got a great bank of clients, and they're a fantastic bunch of clients actually that I've managed to onboard onto my business, and I think it's really easy to build a relationship with them. So and when you've got that good relationship, it's a lot easier to get the right result for a client.
Right.
It all starts with that relationship, I think, in this industry. If you could, and I've got a great relationship, thankfully, with all of my clients. So, hopefully this is some form of, it just shows that I am doing something right.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely does. But for you, when it comes to onboarding, what is that process like? What is the process like of acquiring that client? Do they normally come to you, or are you actively, marketing and putting yourself out there to find these clients?
Well, in terms of marketing, I guess I'm doing kind of the usual things, and I'm on kind of the usual kind of websites that you find most financial advisors list their services. But other than that, mostly they're just client referrals.
Right.
Which I think probably if you speak to most people in our industry, I think that's where most people get their clients, through happy customers and referrals from them. So it's word of mouth is really where I get most of my clients from. And in terms of onboarding a client, that process really, it starts with initial meetings, and I don't put any sort of set time limit on any meetings or how many meetings we need with a client. That's down to the client. I mean, some clients just want to go straight to giving you all the financial information and want everything done in 2, possibly 3 meetings. Others prefer to take their time with it and, might need 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 meetings before they're, really comfortable to work with you. And so it's important not to rush people to work at the client's pace, and let them get to know me as well is the most important thing. Because, I'm here for the long term, not just for a quick couple of meetings and then never hear from them again and I never speak to them again. So it's all about building that long-term relationship, and that's the most important thing for me and my business.
Yeah, no, I think that is very important to have like a client-focused business. That's how you get the good reviews and then the great word of mouth. And I think in terms of marketing, there's nothing better than word of mouth. I think people trust other people that they are close to, that they have respect for. They're more likely to be like, okay, if this person has given this person a rave reviews, I should look into it for myself. So that makes sense. Clearly you have a client-focused kind of business plan. So what skills would you say are needed to be someone in your position, for other people who are listening who want to get to a point where, they're shortlisted, they're, having great relationships with their clients and they have good clients on board and stuff?
Yeah. I think, if you approach it, as you said, like the client is the most important thing. Without the clients, there is no business. So we don't, if someone asks you what you do for a business, I take away from the whole financial advice, moniker, if you would, for it. If someone asks you what the core of your business is, I'd always say it's the clients.
Yeah.
I don't sell pensions. I don't sell investments. I don't, sell insurance products, or I am there for my clients to try and take away some of their financial concerns. That's literally what I do. So, and sometimes you go to a client and you're not recommending they do anything. You're just giving them a bit of peace of mind that what you've already done is fine. I've had many, many clients come to me and they're worried about their pensions, but you look at them and you're like, look, you're actually in a really good place. We could probably tweak a few things here or there, but generally you're fine. Stop worrying. And that's the difference, I think. So stop worrying about selling something or converting or hitting a sales target or something like that. It's, are they happy at the end of the day? And if they are smiling and, you can see a bit of relief. And even if things aren't going to plan, you put a plan in place that will get them to where they are, and they'll still have that same look of relief on their face and be happy at the end of the process. So, and that's what I really judge success on, rather than balance sheet and how much turnover I've hit over a month. It's how many happy clients I've got.
Yeah. I think happy clients does translate into, like success in terms of like hitting those targets and stuff like that. But I find it interesting that you do have kind of like a holistic approach to how you deal with your clients, because one of my colleagues, Amanda, was writing something a while ago, and she was talking about, how some advisors are pivoting and getting like coaching certifications or counseling as well, because it's not just like you're saying, it's not just about, selling them pensions and like investments and stuff like that. You're also dealing with them on an emotional level, because, people, money and emotions, can be a crazy mix. So I guess giving them that reassurance that you've said is important. Do you think that's something that you would possibly do, or is it something that you kind of feel like you have a good handle on, so you don't need to pursue it?
No, I don't think I'm going to move into the sort of coaching side of things. I think there's an element of it that goes hand in hand with what I do anyway. I wouldn't sort of pivot into being a coaching service.
No.
But anything like that. I think if you're a good advisor, you are there for a little bit of education anyway. And, because at the end, it's so easy, because we're quite experienced in finance and money. When you're a financial advisor, it's so easy to use jargon and to just talk high level to a customer. It's really key that you make sure they understand what it is that you're advising. So there's an element of coaching there anyway, and education and making sure people understand how their pensions work. So because let's be honest, not everyone's interested in the ins and outs of how an investment works.
No, I certainly, I just need to hear top level, how is this going to benefit me?
Yeah. Exactly. So, people need to understand the basics though. So any financial advisor should be going through that with their clients, and I'm sure most do.
And you talked about jargon a bit. In terms of simplifying that jargon, how do you approach that with your clients?
You've got to judge, first of all, what your client's level of knowledge is. And I know there's some form of surveys that people send out for clients. I've got one myself that a client fills in and tells me what their investment experience. But they're not always frugal with the truth. They like to think they're rather experienced sometimes when, so you can only really get that from a conversation with them and seeing where their actual level is. And then you pitch your conversations to their level of understanding. I guess that's probably part of the skill of being a financial advisor as well, is judging, So I suppose it would be quite easy to condescend someone or, over pitch. Somebody just comes out not understanding and not feeling, like they can ask those sort of questions. So I guess that's probably part of the skill set is understanding where your client is on that sort of experience scale.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that explanation. And lastly, for our, aspiring financial advisors, because you are, shortlisted on the financial advisor to be section, there are quite a few people that kind of come to our websites who are still, in the process of getting all their qualifications. What advice would you give to those people, thinking back to your days when you moved from, working in corporate to taking the leap and becoming a financial planner?
So I guess if they're doing their qualifications, they're not easy. I'm sure everyone who's completed them will know. Just knuckle down and do your qualifications, and then try and get as much experience as possible as soon as you've got that. I guess, the only thing that will make you really grow as an advisor is having client contact. And don't worry about not knowing everything You're not expected to be an oracle in a client meeting and know, absolutely everything about financial planning that's ever been written, and every single legislation that's out there revolving around pensions or anything. The client meeting is really there for you to get to know the client, and then you can worry about the advice behind closed doors once you've ascertained what the client really needs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't panic, I suppose, is in your first client meetings. You're there for the client, not there for you to show off what you know and what you've learned in your exams.
Yeah.
That all comes behind closed doors.
Sometimes it's all about listening and not, talking.
It is. I mean, I think in a client meeting, it should be like 80% listening, at least. You're there to just ask questions of the client, get them talking about what they want in life. And, you shouldn't be just talking all the way through a client meeting.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
Well, James, thank you so much for taking time out for this, and good luck at the Money Marketing Awards. I'll probably see you there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kimberley. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to In Conversation With. We do hope that you enjoyed it. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as our print edition Money Marketing magazine. So make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time.